All right, you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, we're recording now.
Okay, cool. All right. So
If it's not, okay, I guess if your screen's not loading, you can send me the file if you want. That's faster.
it just loaded. So
Okay.
I can reshare.
Okay.
That work?
Yes. Yep. Okay, I see your screen now.
Okay. My first question is regarding my roof. I'm trying to. Let's see here. It's really slow right now, but I'm trying to chop off this like extra piece here, and I was experimenting with using like a void form, but I don't know why.
Work. You did roof by extrusion, and so you can't chop that off.
Okay.
You're gonna have to, that profile that you have on the edge there.
Uh-huh.
You're gonna have to custom make that profile.
Okay.
So what I would do, you know what? It might be easier if I do this on my computer. Let me just open up the recent file I have from you.
Okay. Yeah, it was a little bit hard for me to. I worked my way through it because it's kind of like it's thicker on the end here. So what I did is I think I did a sweep, and I had this shape kind of along this wall, and then the path was the angle of the roof. But
yeah, what did I do with your? Oh, I'm in the wrong course here. That's why. There we go, Sean. Okay, I'm gonna stop your share.
okay.
You might need to stop your share actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. Just waiting for it to load.
Okay.
Yeah, the other thing too is that detail, that 3D detail you created.
Uh-huh.
I also wanted to go over showing you how to bring that actually into the model. Just because it's gonna always cause you problems having that 3D detail out there.
Okay. Yep.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah, like the one that's kind of floating out in my 3D area.
This is a really old model.
Yeah.
So,
oh, that's right.
Let me open another one. I think under A5 is the most recent one, yeah. So I guess the first thing we'll go over is the roof. Let me go rename this. So I'm just gonna, I'll just leave that detail there. So yeah, so since this roof is, oh, I see what you've done. All right, you modeled a mass and then attached the roof to a mass. Is that what you did?
Yeah, I did, or I did like mod component. It was in the roof category, but it's the mass is a sweep.
Yeah, so what I would do instead is I would just do roof by footprint.
Okay.
And I'm going to go up to level 8. I'm not sure exactly where it is. Yeah, I feel like the
The,
one thing about roofs is I think people try to overcomplicate them a little bit,
mhm.
in terms of, trying to do some fancy sweep or something like that when, you can easily do it with just the normal roof functionality.
Yep.
So we have that. Let me just see what the slope of this roof is. Spot slope. So we got a 4 and 5/8. So we'll do 4 and 5/8. Change the thickness of this roof to 9 or something like that. It's probably, yeah, it looks maybe a little thicker. 12 maybe?
So the one thing about it that's a little tricky is it kind of overhangs at the edges. So it appears to be thicker when you're looking at it in elevation, but then it kind of goes up and meets the subroof. Um, if that makes
Oh,
sense at
so
all.
so just the end. Oh, I see. So like the middle part's probably 9 inches, and just the edge has a fascia on it, basically.
Yeah,
Caps
like
over.
yep.
So okay, so
And
let
I kind
me.
of made up this little parapet condition at that end to make it easier, just so it can crash into that.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna bring this roof down. It's even actually probably even thinner. So yeah, it looks like it's 6 inches. So I'm just gonna duplicate. Just change the thickness of this to 6 inches. Your project is kind of interesting because it's a little bit more of a traditional construction project.
Mm-hmm.
And what is going on there? So your roof line, is there a reason why your roof line's not oh, maybe it is symmetrical. That's why. Yeah, so you have your roof there now.
Mm-hmm.
So this little edge condition, what I would do is modeled as a wall
Mm-hmm.
along there.
Okay.
So in 3D, I'm just gonna go wall, generic. Make it a generic 8 inches. You'd want to basically change the layers to the wall to be the same as the roof after you model this. But
Okay.
for now, I'm just going to do it this way. And then I'll make it level 8, unconnected height.
When you say layers, like usually I just join them. Is that different than making them on the same layer?
Well, layers, I mean like the actual, when you go into here, edit type, structure. So all of these elements here, you want to be the same between the wall
Oh
and the roof.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's because it's a vertical plane, you can't really make it as a, so what we have level 7. Yeah, so we'll attach this to level 7. And then we'll go, I'm just gonna hit the space bar. Just gonna move this in right here. So we have that. And so bring it down to there. Bring this up to level 7. So that right there. So I'm just going to delete your other roof you have here.
Mm-hmm.
And then this you'd want to and this drops. So does the roof overhang on that end?
I just made that up. There's actually no pictures online of that side, but I just added that in.
So let's just say, I'm just gonna make this 12 inches. So it does have an angled side on it though, an angled end.
It definitely has the angled side.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna drop this wall so it's basically underneath this.
Okay.
Why is it not letting me pick that? I'm just going to visually bring this down since it's not letting me pick that line.
Yep.
Not that it really matters right now. So you have this, and you have this little piece of wall.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to make this come out to that edge. And then I'm just going to flip this over to the other side so we don't have to draw it again.
Okay.
And then on this side, see how it sticks out? Actually, let me join it first. So see how it sticks out a little bit?
Yeah.
I'm just going to move it back so it doesn't stick out at all.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, crap. Maybe I'll leave it sticking out like that. This is just going to be one of those weird things that Revit doesn't really know how to deal with it. But after I'm done that, I'm just going to join. So I joined that one already. I'll just join this one. So we have essentially the same appearance there. And if these materials were the same material, actually, we could also make this a plumb cut square, make it 0 inches. No, we don't want to do that. Yeah, so it looked like that. And then what I would do then in elevations, I would make these lines invisible here. So it looks like that. And then like that. So you'd have to manually go do that. But if you were to render, so this is the line weight tool here. So if you were to render this, you'd probably, if you made all the layer material all the same, you wouldn't necessarily see that. But
okay.
What I would do now is it's gonna be interesting. So for this end piece, I would traditionally do it as a foot or as a fascia board, but it's going to be a little bit weird. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to level 7. So just to get this edge like you have it. So what's this distance? So that's a one foot thickness. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to delete these side pieces. Actually, hold on a second before I do that. I'm just going to make sure this goes all the way to the edge. And it's not going to, but all right. So what I would do now is I'm going to pick the top lines like this. And then I'm gonna do it again, but I'm gonna have an offset of 1 foot. Actually, probably an offset of, I think we chose, an 8-inch. So we'll do an offset of 8 inches. So it's a little bit below the roof slab.
Mm-hmm.
And then delete those. And I'm gonna make this line up with the exterior. I'm just making a really weird kind of so this is, I'm basically making a really weird wall to act as this profile for the end of the roof.
Okay.
I think this is going to be the best way to do it. No, it doesn't want to do that. So let's go back to my original way. So I'm just going to do this part here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit tedious, but
Yeah. So it does. It's best to do this in. Why does Revit not like the roof category of mass? Like,
well, it's just the problem with modeling stuff as a mass is they're not made of Revit elements. So when you
okay.
go to detail and do all that kind of stuff, it's going to cause you a lot of problems. And I guess from my
Mm-hmm.
perspective, I guess we do want to go from the top. From my perspective, the other disadvantage is like it's not really buildable. You know what I mean? It's not like you're not, unless you can identify the elements that and kind of design it in a way that Revit can understand it. It's going to be
Mm-hmm.
very difficult to build it.
Yeah.
And so, but if you follow Revit's logic of building things, then it's going to be a little bit more. So what is going on here? So that's 8-inch. Yeah. So there's going to be some weird things that go on with this, but
Mm-hmm.
like the other side, I would just go invisible lines and hide
Okay.
these lines like that. And now you can
Okay.
start to see that the profile is looking the way we want it to look. So you can do.
Does the fact that we have to do invisible lines mean that they're not joining? Like, don't the lines like the lines usually disappear when they join?
Yes and no. One part of the problem is right now we have two different materials. We have a generic 6-inch and we have generic wall. If you made all these the same material, some of the lines will probably disappear when they join.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd want to basically just do the same kind of thing on the other side.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily worry about making all the lines invisible. Maybe like in your elevations and stuff, but I think that's the better way to do it. I guess the alternative way to be it would be to do them as fascia boards along these
Mm-hmm.
edges. But I just doing it as a mass, I don't think is the best way to do it. Just because you're going to need to eventually you're going to need to dimension it. You're going to need to build it. Like massing is good for design, but I don't think it's good
Mm-hmm.
for construction.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes
So
sense.
you're going to want to do it this way so you can detail it and figure out exactly what's going on, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of the roof thing. I just I don't. Do you have any, I guess, more questions with that, or no? What do you
Um,
think?
not really on the roof. That was my main one there.
Okay.
Um,
And I guess the other thing too is like maybe just model this as a 9 or an 8-inch roof and not worry about doing that end piece.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I wanted to try and figure out how to do it, but yeah,
Here's
I think
another way
that.
to do it. Actually, so if you were to do this, so model it so that it's there,
Mhm.
and then I'm just going to copy, paste the same place, edit, take this, and yeah. So this actually is probably the best way to do it. So see how we have 2 roofs on this end? I'm just going to make this roof an 8-inch roof. Yeah, this is a better way to do it. So I basically add a part on the end like that, and then once you
Mhm.
join this with this roof, it'll make that disappear, and then you can join that there.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's probably the best way to do it.
Okay.
And then so you just I'm just going to take this and mirror it on the other side. Where is my middle line? There we go. And then what I'll do is I'll rotate in place. Ooh, this is going to be, I guess, actually I need to do, I can't rotate it. I need to do it this way. I wonder, this might not work out properly. Just because, oh, actually I just need to turn off that slope. Let's see how this looks. I think that actually worked out. Yeah, that worked out exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's the way I would do it. I'd do it like that. And then
Okay.
just,
And then yeah, that okay.
you're gonna have some weird things on this end,
Mhm.
but yeah,
I feel like if I did exactly like what you did with the wall, but I align it to this angle, then maybe cut a I don't know what the Revit calls it, cut a hole out of that
yeah,
wall. That could make it so it lines up. Um,
yeah. I guess the other thing too is like get this to look close, but I'm not that concerned about this. I guess
yeah,
I would
yeah,
say you want to be somewhat representative, but like I don't want you to burn yourself out with trying to figure. I know you're just trying to dive into the program and figure it all
mhm,
out, but I don't really want you to burn
yeah,
yourself out with this thing. Like for example, like I find replicating a detail like this is far more important to me.
mhm.
So I'd like you to do more of that. Why is it not? So yeah, let me ask you if you want me to touch on anything else before I show you that detail.
Yeah. So I don't want to like keep you too long. I guess I had quite a few questions, and maybe I can email them to you after, and maybe do another call sometime. But I think, like you said, some of them are neat to dive in, like get very like I wanted the curtain wall glass to. I don't know why Revit is like sticking the glass outside the mullions, and I can't really edit that. But that's like a minor question. There's a few.
Well,
There's more.
yeah, I would honestly rather go over them right now, just because my schedule is just a disaster. So let's try to
Yeah.
tackle as much as we can right now.
Okay.
Let me show you how to do this detail, and that
Okay.
might help you with a few other things.
Yep.
So I duplicated this 3D view, and we're going to call
Okay.
this 3D column detail 2.
Mm-hmm.
I spelled that wrong. So you can actually, I'm just on level 5. It doesn't really matter where you are, but you can actually, if you right click on this 3D view, you can actually click show section box.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows that section box. And then so I'm just going to bring it around. Oh, crap. There we go. Show section box. I'm just going to bring it around this one grid in the middle of the building.
Okay.
I think that's a better way of doing it than having it outside the drawing.
Mm-hmm.
And then now that we've done that, we want to bring it down and bring this up. And then, so we don't want to see the floor, so we'll hide that. For this section box itself, I'm actually going to hide the section box. You don't want to uncheck it, because if you uncheck it,
Okay.
then it'll stop conforming the building to the section.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to do that. Select these elements, curtain wall, another curtain wall. So it looks like I don't really want to see these grids right now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
hide those as well. So that's kind of your detail there. Let me just go back to the section box for a second. Just gonna bring this section box just over a little bit more so it's more even. Yeah.
So if I wanted to do displaced like elements, that would this then mess up my model since it is still like it's referencing a column that's like my other one was copied, so it was its own element, and whereas this one's still on a grid line.
Yeah. You should be able to displace it. Yeah.
And it won't.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, you should be able to. I guess. Like do something like that.
Yeah.
You can show the order of operations on how it comes together.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm obviously, I don't really know what I'm doing here, right? But it's kind of the idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
And then you can add the displacement lines.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. My next question is, for some reason I have my grid line 12 on the angled wall. It's
Mm-hmm.
not showing up in elevations. Like I don't know if that's just like it shows up in plan, but I guess in my elevation it's just not there. I don't know how you would draw that.
That's a good question. Because I guess because it's on an angle, north elevation. Let me just have you Googled it?
No, I have not. If that's like is that just like a drawing convention?
It might be something to do with Revit. Grids at angles and plan don't display an elevation.
Okay, I can do some more research on that outside of the call because it looks like it's a common thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. Not all grid line visibility categories turned on. Extend across. Just look in here, go into grids and annotations. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a huge one.
Let me just try one other thing.
Okay.
So grids. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really tried that, but if you come up with a solution, let me know. It says something. Yeah, it has something to do with I guess the angle that the view is being seen from.
Yeah.
Because it's not. I don't think it's showing. It doesn't show down here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Related to this problem is on my first floor. Just like if I go to my ground, I think it's ground floor. Yeah. So maybe it's in my new file. Like these sections, I can't. The section lines are just gone, and I can't. I do the reveal hidden elements, and I can't. They just don't show up.
So a couple things with that. So let me see if you have any conditions where they're. So there's a couple things. One is when you click this section box, if the view scale is less than 1/16, so say the view scale is 1/8.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just see these. Or actually right here. So hide scale is coarser than 1/6. Oh, so if we take this scale and we change the scale of this view to where's 1/16? There it is, 1/20. See how they're gone?
Yeah.
But if we go back to 1/16, or actually if we just go over here to section 1 and we click on it, see how over here hide at scales coarser than this? So if we change this to 1/32, the scale comes back.
Okay.
So that could be one thing that's going on. The other thing you can check is under visibility graphics VG, if under here sections are turned off in annotation.
Okay.
So right here is section. So that will also turn off your section. So you can try both those things.
Okay.
If you want to, I don't know if you have your Revit file open, but if you want to try that quickly right now, you can.
Yeah, I have a feeling that it's the coarser thing, because I know that I had to shrink those plans down to. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I'm at a 364 scale, and that's in the.
Yeah, so just change the coarser then to like 1/32 or something.
Okay.
And start bringing. Yeah, that's probably. I bet you that's probably what it was. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. For my details, my call out bubbles. Maybe if I share my screen, because I don't think they were on that file. They're like enormous relative to the drawing, and I'm able to edit the bubble itself, but not the attachment with the tag, which is the really large part.
Oh, so like, okay, let me see what if I can interpret what you mean. So you have your view set to 364s, correct?
For my details, they are.
You're talking about this though, right? So like the view, the call out.
Yeah. Yep. That little thing right there.
So here's the thing about a lot of these elements in Revit that do annotations. You actually need to edit the call out head down here. So if you go under families and you click this and you click edit, here we can edit the call out tag. So what I typically do is I change this label size, because it's usually set to 3/32. I change it to 1/16. So I do that. And then now that I've done that, I can change this to, let's try this at 1/8. It's a little bit too small. So let's go 3/16.
Okay.
That's maybe, let me try. 5 30 seconds maybe. Yeah, so that's probably good. I'll just bring this in a little bit.
Okay.
I don't want to change changes that overwrite. That's definitely a better size. Actually, it might be even a little too big still. You might even consider dropping this scale down to 1/32 or 5/64.
Okay.
Probably 1/32 is probably fine.
Yeah. So related to that is, I remember you actually, that makes sense because you told us to do that with the section head, which I was able to figure out. However, once I shrunk, like you can see it on this drawing right now, like 300, or that one. Because I shrunk it down, the line doesn't. This is very like nitpicky, but I mean, if you do a quick way to do that, I tried to lower the section head in the editing screen or the family editing, but it didn't really.
Section head filled. Section head filled. So let me just see what's going on. Let me see if there's something. So one thing I might just do is I might try to move this. Actually, you know what? Turn on reference planes. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this over to here. There you go.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. Oh, crap.
I mean, this one's not that big of a deal. It seems, I don't.
Actually, you know what? Let me just go here. That's not capped. So let me see here. Keep readable. Wrap between perimeter only. One thing I don't suggest you do is I don't suggest you make a new label.
Okay.
I just want to see what there might be a text. So 564 liter offset, 64 text font. Why is there no text font selected? Here's 32nd. I think it has something the way you edited the tag in terms of like you might have moved it. And I don't know why when we move it back, it's not letting us move it back, but it has something to do with that. What I would suggest, reopen that tag. You can find that this tag in this section folder. So it's centered on that. So, I wonder if I just actually bring these in. Let me see if that makes a difference. Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of weird.
Okay. Yep. That's fine. Not a big deal.
I wonder if there's something hidden. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, take a look at that. I would suggest reopening that that,
Mhm.
like open the actual raw file and re-edit it.
Okay.
And yeah.
Okay. And then on my third floor, I imported these awning type windows, and um, two questions related to the third. I guess it would be called level 5, I think, actually. Um, level
So
5.
just want one thing, for your levels,
Mhm.
it would be good for you to go through and probably, so this would be level 1. You could call it bottom of BOS, bottom of structure.
Okay.
Or you could call it level 1 T.O.W, top of wall.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd recommend doing that just to make it a little bit more clear. Then this then becomes level 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably top of wall is probably the best thing. So level 1 top of wall, level 2, level 4 top, or level 2 top of wall. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's some. I gotta
And
organize
then
my file a little bit better.
level 8 is top of roof. Yeah. Anyways, anyway.
Okay.
Sorry, continue.
I guess it would be level 6. Whenever there's or in 3D, the first question is like, there's this weird bar thing that's like just kind of floating in space associated with those windows. It's close, yeah, like that down there. I don't know what that is.
So when you're, yeah, so this is probably, what does this say? So it says window trim. So yeah, I just delete it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Simple. Cool. And then in
The other
plan.
thing, sorry, let me just
Oh, yeah.
show you one thing with that. When you edit a family, it'll often
Mhm.
open up as the default view. But if you
Okay.
click the properties button up here, you can go to this and you can actually select the proper window.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in terms of convention too, it might be good to get in the habit of naming them as the size.
Yeah. Yep. That's a question that I realized my naming convention was wrong when it came to tagging my columns. Um, but related to the window, the other thing is in plan, these windows next to the awnings aren't showing the level of detail I would like them to show. They're kind of just like um, they are there, which is odd. I don't know my current file why, but it doesn't show the frame. Um,
So you can, so what I often do for a lot of elements is, so here's, let me see if I can do this. So I'm going to click on a line here. I'm going to isolate category. Actually, hold on a second. So frame boolean, hide. So what I would do, typically, see how there's a lot of lines in here, and these lines
mhm.
aren't attached to, so like for example, I would actually bring that line out there, bring that line here, and now when I load it in, it actually shows a double line for the window. So you
Okay.
can, so usually what they do for families is you'll have like a series of, I'm just gonna stop sharing my video here too. Series of actual like models in place,
Mhm.
components that make up the window. But then what they typically do is they model line work of how they want to visually show that window in plan. And so so that can be done independently of the window.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to see if there's a better way to actually. I wonder actually if you can see that 3D view. No, you can't. Maybe if you select these lines, actually, you know what actually might work? If you go under manage, is it gonna let me, oh, it's not gonna let me edit the line style. Shoot. I was gonna say if you can make all the lines green, it'd be super easy to see exactly what's going on, but you can't. But you might have to just visually start like working with, actually, I think there's this button down here. Preview visibility on. Yeah, so there we go. So you can toggle that.
Yeah. So I'm looking at my file right now, and it's just showing like, yeah. So basically, you double click, go into the family, and that's where you work with the line, like the representation. Okay.
Yeah. So if you go down here, there's this preview visibility. Turn that on, and you can see what the building or what this window looks like in plan without the models. Because what you want to do, what people typically do is like all these elements, when you go into visibility settings, it's turned off in plan.
Oh, okay.
And so that way, when you only see the line work, which is really what you want to see anyways, because you want to really control what you want to see. So that's the best way to do that.
Yep. Okay. Let's see. Okay, scale. I guess my next question is related to the structural connection of my columns to my floors. I have all my details set up. I'm assuming there's got to be some like plate or something that connects the those columns to the ground. It's hard to tell in the pictures. It kind of looks just like how I have it. They just kind of are standing there.
What's your building called?
My building is called, let's see, it is Wooden Office by ABCHVOYA.
Sorry, say the architect's name again. By
AB space CHVOYA.
So what's going on here is these columns are continuous from floor to ceiling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this column starts here, goes all the way up to there. It bolts there, bolts there, bolts there. And that's how it's connected.
Okay.
And then let me see if I can, I hate how it does that. They might have a little piece of wood that comes up here just to stiffen it. Let me just see here. Oh, that might be good. Oh yeah, so they have another piece of wood in there just to stiffen it. And I guess
yes.
Yeah, so so this piece would not be continuous, but these bigger pieces would be continuous. So they go floor like from all the way to the ground, all the way up to the roof. And then on the ground level, let me just see here what we can see on the ground level. Yeah, we can't see anything. On the ground level, there might be some sort of knife edge. Let me just see if I can look up. Knife edge wood. Plate. Yeah, so we often use something like this on the bottom. So what your project might have is a double one of these, and it's on sandwiched on either side of the wood. So that would almost look like that. So they have some sort of thing that buffers it. So disconnect the concrete from the wood.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a decent diagram of how that works.
Okay.
So it might have something like that. I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Okay. Those wood, so those like stiffener pieces in between go from the bottom of that framing to the floor.
Yeah. So this one here, I'm just going to displace this. So this piece just goes between the floors, and then these pieces are continuous all the way up.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that makes sense. And then the joist, it doesn't really show any structure connecting them. It looks like, I don't know how.
The joists are bolted then.
Okay.
So this one is being sandwiched with this piece holding it up from underneath, and then it's bolted. You can see the bolts right here. So see all these bolts right here?
Yes.
So that's how
I mean the smaller beams in between, like you can see them on like running that way.
Oh, that's a good question.
They just have them like
they might be notched. I bet you they're notched.
Notched in. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. For my tagging, I'm running into issues. I think it's based on my naming convention, maybe my lack of construction knowledge. But what I essentially did is the family is like timber columns, and I kind of just custom sized them based on what I thought they looked like in my plan, my scaled plan. But I mean, for the sake of tagging them, they would be they should be considered one column, correct? Like the whole sandwich, the whole construction.
Well, you could do it both ways, I guess. I would say, so we have project beam 1. What you'd want to do, oh crap, no leader. So this, I wouldn't call it project beam 1. I would call it, I would call it 2.5 by 30 or 28 inch. So I'd call that. That's what I'd call it. Like that.
Okay.
So you want to call things by their sizes, or you can make a naming convention. So like B1, B2, B3, and then have I guess a chart that describes the sizes. So when you're to create a schedule, so let's just do a schedule here for a second. Schedules and quantity, structural framing. We want to do my family, and then we want to do combined parameters. So I like to do combined parameters often. So we're going to do width by height. Let me just see, where is width? Structural. Wonder if it's got a different name to it. Exact weight, family, width, and type. You could actually do this. Actually, you could do. I don't know. That doesn't work. You want family and type. How number of plan area. I'll let you look into that a little bit more, but
yeah.
Crap, why isn't it giving me width and height of the exact weight? Cross cut length? No. Yeah, I guess you could do cut length would be something. Camber size, coating, end extension. Join Quebec. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
But there should be a way to size like the length and
That
see it.
this is yeah. This is another issue. Like if wouldn't I want I tried to add a filter and count, and wouldn't I essentially have one column type, like what I wouldn't necessarily want it to be like 400 lines in the schedule, right?
Yeah, so you just go, basically just do what I just did there without talking you through it. You want to
Okay.
make sure it's set by family and type, and then you want to uncheck itemize every instance.
Okay.
So we'll do calculate totals. We can do this. We'll add count
Yeah.
to that. And then we'll just go into here. We go to formatting, count, calculate totals.
Okay. Okay. And then
And we can also do, sorry, let's do cut length. No, that doesn't add anything. Offset, innovate. Length, oh, that's what we want. That doesn't show anything either. And then by length, maybe. Let's do that. Yeah, there we go.
okay.
So you see all the different lengths of each one of these timbers.
Okay, cool. These are the counts. And then in the plan, I was getting an error message when I was trying to do a group tag for my not for the columns, but for the larger beams. I guess it would be project beam 1. I don't know why it's
So wait, say that again.
so I guess when I try to do a group tag for the beams, so I guess if you make this floor like transparent, you would see them all underneath there.
So
It was giving me an error
yeah,
message.
you want to do your structural plans in the structural thing.
Okay.
What we want to do is we want to do a cut plane is -1 or like -6, maybe -8 inches. So now we can see our beams. We want to actually show it in this view, but what I want to do is I'm going to select doors, hide category. This mullions. We're going to hide category. So let me just see if I can select. Oh, there's curtain wall. Hide. Oh, well, let me select. There we go. Hide category. So now we just see our structure. I'd even hide the stairs, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And hide railings. So now we have that. You can show it in fine view just to see it, but we want to, well, I guess we could actually do this view as well. Now when we go to tag stuff, you can see that tag, right?
Yes.
Does that look a lot better?
I think you showed us a way where you can so these are all the same beam. If I want to tag them by day to clean it up a little bit.
Beam system tag. So we're not seeing any beam systems right now. Did you model these as beam systems or no? Yeah, you have these models modeled as individual joists. That's why. So,
okay.
If you're like these ones, so you want to tag these ones separately here. These ones are bigger, right? These
it's just two
right
of them.
Yeah, so let me just rename this as 2.5 inches by 12 inches.
Oh yeah, those are the joists. Yep.
Yeah, so these joists you want to model as a beam system.
Okay.
and sketch the system. And since they look like they're disappearing in, I'm going to do that. Still make it look like they're overlapping.
Okay.
What's the spacing of this? Probably 2 feet.
Yeah, I kind of try to do a manual. Okay. So that I could figure out the spacing, but that makes sense. I just did it. I didn't
Yeah.
draw
So now that
them
we
in the
now that we have a beam system, just delete these tags here. We can actually go into annotate and tag like this, and then when we select the beam system, it does this.
Okay.
And I'm gonna edit this tag to not show beam type, or I'm gonna edit this label here so it shows beam type. Beam type no family name. I'm just gonna bring that and then remove that, and then bring that back in like that. Yeah, there you go. So that starts to look a little bit better. You might want to adjust the text size of these as well, so they're like 1/16 text size. So
Okay.
I think that'll start getting you into a good place, because like the hardest thing about the structural aspect of this section is you want to like pretend like you're building a shed, right? So you need to lay out the floor, the wall structure. Can you hear me still?
It's a little muffled.
I'm gonna fix my headphones here. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hold on a second, sorry, Sean.
Oh, no problem.
It's like not connecting to my headphones for some reason. Oh, there we go. All right. Okay, so where were we?
Describing the methodology behind the modeling the structure.
Yeah, so it's kind of a tough thing, because like you need to go through and like you want to describe as much detail as possible. So like in this, the other thing I would do is I would start tagging these columns. But one of the cheats I have for that is when you do a column tag, what am I doing right now? Annotation, structural column. I think it's actually up in structural column. Structural column tag 45. Yeah, so that's the one you want to bring in, because now these columns are on an angle like that, right? So, and I would only bother tagging one of these elements. Well, shit.
What I did, what I have right now is I have just, I didn't mean for it to be named project column, but I have, it just, off of every one, it says project column. So it doesn't necessarily be project column 3 times because there's 3 elements.
Yeah, what I would do is I would tag it like this. I would tag 2 dash 3 3 1/4 by 18 inches. So now when you look at this, you're like, oh, actually, what did this tag? This tag yeah. So now when you look at it, you know that there's 2 there because it says 2 dash, right? And I'm just gonna grab this. I'm just gonna make this a little bit longer. Not that we really need to do this, but I'm just gonna make this 1/32, like that. Like that.
Okay. And the little sandwich piece isn't even necessarily part of the column itself. It's more of a structural reinforcing element.
Yeah, what I would do, I guess the other thing you can do is say, you could actually do this. You could say, this is probably the better way. Call it C1.
Okay.
And then do a detail showing the components of C1.
Okay.
And then for these beams right here, because there's a double beam here, you could call this B1 and detail what that looks like. And also this, for example, since this is like a sandwich beam, you could call that B1 or B2 or whatever, and then just detail what the layers of B1 and B2 are, so it's transparent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
That's probably the best way to do it, just because it's, I don't know, it's a bit complicated. So.
Yeah. Okay. And when on that angled wall, when I did my section, it doesn't go directly through the rebar. However, I have it detailed out. And is there an easy way for me to kind of do an override sketch where it won't add rebar into the model, but in the section I can kind of fake it and represent, like that it would be a clean, the shape that you showed in the video.
Yeah, I would just do this. So what I did there was I just did a filled region and make a couple circles, and then also do the bars coming down like that. I think that's the easiest way to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not overly concerned about that angled area, like, because like if you're gonna do a call out, don't do a call out there. Do a call out where it's square, right?
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
So.
Yeah, it was just like it's either show no rebar there or show one that's kind of like offset in a weird way. It's kind of confusing.
Okay. Yeah.
But that simplifies it. And then I think one of my last, we're down to my last two questions here. Where there's that sandwiched element, where I have the detail, it would be, I guess it would be in the other. So that beam right there that you're on, I want to show. I'm cutting through. I want to show in my detail the line weight of the sandwich piece that's being blocked by these other columns in a hidden line, but showing part of that column also in a non-hidden line. So the same element would have two line types.
So you want to show these elements here. I'm just going to go like this. I'm going to go, maybe I'll make these thin lines.
Yeah, or I guess to simplify my question, how would I make, like, let's say if there's that rectangle shape and I wanted to make one part of it hidden line and then another part of it a different line type.
The short answer to that is I would make the part that you want to be the thinnest an override.
Okay.
And then the part that you don't want to be the thinnest. So, well, technically though, like if you're looking at this detail, so this column, oh, that's why we're having problems. There's a wall there. Red line weights, thin lines. So say, for example, I'll just show you this the reverse way. So say, for example, you wanted all that to be that line weight, and then you wanted just to show this in a medium line. I would just draw over it in a medium line.
Okay.
Like that.
But what if I wanted half, like one line of that rectangle to be a different line type? Okay.
Like that. Yeah. So I would just make all the lines the thinnest line you want it to be possible. And then, like, well, even with the override, you can actually just make that thin. And with this, you can make, so if I go to modify override medium, I could actually make this line medium.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. I didn't, yeah, I did not know about this, the override function.
Yeah.
That's a nice thing.
Yeah, it's good for detailing, right? Because you can, like,
yes.
So like this, you can see the 3 beams you're cutting through now. The other thing we need to do is we need to go to find. Yeah, there we go. So now we can see the 3 beams that we're cutting through. This one's not showing like we're cutting through it. Maybe change this to me. Oh yeah, there we go. So the beams that we're cutting through now, and then the elements we're not cutting through is the other area. The other thing I do, so here's a bit of a, since you're doing wood, I think it only makes sense to show you this, but what I actually do is for my wood pieces, front, back, left maybe? Yeah, so what I do for my wood pieces, I actually draw in annotation lines like this and pick left. So I'm going to do this hidden or stick symbol. No, actually, yeah, stick symbol cut. And what I'll do is I'll draw an X in here. Like so.
Yep.
And now load that back in. So now when you cut, it's not liking that. So now when we cut that, it should show, I believe it should show the X. I might have to change that line weight, but that's the general. Oh crap, yeah. So that line's too thick. So I'm just going to change that to thin. I just want to change these crosses to thin lines. And really the scale shouldn't be 1/8. It should be probably 3/4 of an inch. So that's, yeah, so actually like this by category. Like that.
Okay.
So that's, yeah, and you can edit the line weights further, I think, in the family so that you don't have to do all this overriding as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a way in my elevations? I was playing with the line work, like the hatch patterns that they have loaded in. Like I want to apply some brick, like line work, especially because on the facade there's like little squares of brick that are going different directions. And I was trying to do override graphics with surface pattern projection, but I wasn't able to find a clean.
Sorry, hold on one second.
Oh, no problem.
Can you hear me again?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, so you want to go into here. I'm going to go into here, and you want to actually change the surface pattern for the whole material. We have a brick in here. Actually, this could be a model pattern brick.
Model. Okay.
So now that brick is going to show, and the brick will show in 3D as well. So now the brick shows in 3D like that. Yeah.
Okay. and then it's like it is if I want to change the angle, it's a simple like cut wall and then kind of apply that same pattern to it.
Your cut pattern. Well, so when you're doing a detail, so like for example, let me go to a section. So in a section, I would not be concerned about that.
Mm-hmm.
But say if I were to do a call out of this area here, change this to 1 inch equals 1 foot. What I'd want to do now is, like I wouldn't model that. What I would do is do a repeating detail component, and there's actually a brick already loaded in there, and you just add that like that.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, so don't bother trying to do it in the actual, like in the model, just do it for details.
Okay.
Yeah, and then within, like, I don't know exactly how this building's constructed, but if there's a brick, this wall is probably a bit thicker because you probably want to have enough room for, let's go to detail elements, detail items, I don't know, woods and plastics, wood framing, nominal cut side. Like I do with most things, I'm going to bring in 2x4 to 2x12. And I'll probably bring in 1x6, 1x8, 1x4, like that. So you probably have a 2x6 wall, I would assume, behind this. Oh, I clicked the wrong one. Crap. You want a normal cut section. Oh, there we go. That's what I did wrong. 1, 4, 6, 2x4. Like that. So you probably want to make this so you probably have a 2x6 wall. And this is part of like the actually creating the layers for a structure.
Mm-hmm.
You want to do that properly, right? So let me turn off line rates here. So on the inside, do a filled region. So you probably have half-inch thick gypsum. And I'm not going to change that type right now. And then you probably have some sort of sheathing or dense glass. So I do another filled region on the outside here. I don't know exactly the construction type of this wall, but
yeah,
it could be another half-inch sheathing out here. And there even could be foam as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then the space between here and here, I'm just going to change this to here, and this to here. We probably want this to be at least a half an inch. So like that. So you might have to change the thickness of your wall. But
okay.
That's kind of the idea. So you don't necessarily want to do that in sections. You just want to do that in callouts.
Yes. Okay. So my very last question is related to the mechanical. So when I was doing my mechanical, I was struggling to figure out which plan. Like, I know my model is a little bit unorganized right now, so that's part of the problem. However, it was just like shooting one random plan, and I couldn't figure out which plan it was because I wanted to clean up the graphics and hide some reference planes.
So you're doing your mechanical in a separate file, correct?
Correct. I'm trying to link it.
Yeah. So I think the first thing is you need to clean all this up.
Yeah.
What I would do is then whenever you're drawing mechanical, you want to draw your mechanical on the you want to draw your mechanical on the top of wall plan.
Okay. So how do I select the top of wall? Like when I opened it, I linked my file, and then it just automatically said mechanical one. And it wasn't. I couldn't figure out which plan it was.
So you're going to need to copy all the levels. So when you organize this model first, and
Mhm.
then what you want to do, let me actually just open another instance of Revit. Just give me 1 second. So I'm just waiting for it to load.
Okay.
Um, okay, so here we go. Oh, I actually have this right here, tutorial, Sean Mechanical. So mechanical one. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to copy all the levels to respond. So you're going to want to add a level line for every level line that's in the existing model.
Oh, okay. And you do
Yeah,
that in the mechanical file.
yeah. So it's
Okay.
level 1, top of a wall. So you're going to want to rename and match all those levels. Once you match them all and rename them all, type
Mhm.
visibility graphics. Actually, no, go to, I think we can do manage links up here. And let me just see. I'm not sure if we can do this. No, it won't let us do it. But if we go to visibility graphics in each view, we can actually go like this and go to by linked view. How do we do this? Custom phase detail level, nested links, custom. So once you do all that, you can turn off levels.
Mhm.
There's another way to do that. Face filter, color fill objects turn on. Yeah, so you'd want to do what I just did there and turn off levels,
Okay.
and then it'll just show your mechanical levels now.
Okay. But my question is like, it still says on our project browser over here, floor plans. It doesn't give us the option to go to a mechanical level 5 or.
Yeah. So okay, yeah. So that's the next thing. So after you create all these levels, you need to go to view. You need to go to plan views, and you need to go to floor plans and type. I think let me just see here if I do this if it'll work. Yeah. So we need to go to floor plans. You need to go click this, and you need to select all the views that are here and click OK, and it'll add
Mhm.
them over here.
Okay. And
Yeah.
to get rid of like all these reference lines and things, I would have to do that in my architectural file.
No, you don't necessarily. What you need to do is, reference type. Here we can go. We can do attachment. Maybe. So what we need to do is we need to go to visibility and graphics again. We want to
Hmm.
go to, actually, sorry, we need to go over here. Mechanical plan. Yeah, so doing it in a view template is probably your best bet. We want to go to Revit links by hosted view, custom annotation, custom. We want to just turn off reference planes,
Okay.
reference lines, reference planes. There you go.
Okay.
So now we just need to apply this view template. Oh, we don't want electric plane, we want mechanical. Yeah, now mechanical plane, we just see, we don't see those reference lines.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's tough. A lot of it's just graphics, right?
Yeah, and it's like I know, yeah, I have an idea of how to do it. It's just a matter of finding it, I guess. But yeah, I thank you very much. I really appreciate
No problem.
calling to meet with me.
No problem, man. Let me know how that goes, and yeah, I'll upload this recording to YouTube after, and I'll upload it for the whole class if that is
Yeah.
well to you.
Yep, that's fine.
And then yeah, anyone else can have look at some of the same stuff. But yeah, a lot of it's like the tough part about Revit is like now that you're starting to get experience, it's like now you got to really dive into how you're actually seeing things, right? And
Yeah.
have more control over that. And some of the stuff is tedious, like, you know, you just have to do it for one floor, one elevation, one ceiling plan, and set that view template, and then just copy that view template all across, and then all the views will be consistent. So.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thanks, Corbin.
Yeah, thanks, Sean. Let me know if you need any more help. We can maybe have another call.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Have a good day.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.